to set up Anaconda and everything else for the data science bootcamp or any other data science projects. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to anaconda.com. Once you're here, you're going to navigate over to projects and then individual edition. From here you can click download. What Anaconda is basically it just downloads all of the necessary software and packages, and it has a graphical user interface, so that way you can interact with it without having to learn anything about terminal or the command line. So download, and then for your operating system you're going to click on the 64-bit graphical installer. So if you have Windows 64-bit graphical, I have Mac, so I'm going to download this one. Once you click on that, it's going to begin downloading, and then it's going to take you to this page. I downloaded it previously, so we didn't need to wait, but it's going to take just a couple of minutes. If you're on Windows, it might ask what installation type you want. Choose the option for just me, so that when updates come, you don't have to log in as the admin. You can store it wherever you want, but the default is normally best, and then leave the advanced options the way that they are as default. So for Windows, just check register Anaconda as my default Python 3.8. If you have Mac, don't worry, just go ahead and click through continue on all of the installers. This will take a little bit of time, so be patient, and then click finish when it's done, and you can create an account if you want, but you don't have to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to navigate over to our applications or wherever you have it stored. If you have Windows, you can just go to the start menu and type Anaconda. Find this Anaconda Navigator. We're going to click on that to open it up. So it's loading everything, and this is what it looks like. There are a handful of applications that are already preloaded on here. I won't go through them all, but just as note, if you want to use R, they have RStudio on here. There's another more statistics-based platform called Spider that you can use, and then there's Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. We're going to use Jupyter Notebook because it's the most beginner-friendly. So when you find Jupyter Notebook, you can go ahead and click Launch. It's going to open up your browser and create a new tab. Under here, then you can kind of see at a high level what this is doing is just showing all of the folders on your computer. So you can see applications, desktop, documents, downloads, etc. From here, I would recommend making a folder where you can store all of your projects in one neat place. So for me, I like to keep all of my stuff in documents. We're going to give it access. And then from here, you can see all of the folders that are within documents. So it's almost as if you're using your file explorer, but just within your browser. So from here, we're going to want to make a folder, so you can choose where you want to save it. And then within this, you're going to go up here and click on New. And then in the drop-down menu, you're going to see there's Python 3, text file, folder, terminal. We're going to click Folder, because that's what we want to make. And then when you scroll down, you'll see there's something called Untitled folder. That's the one that we just created, you can see a few seconds ago. We're going to check the box next to it and then scroll back up to the top and hit rename. You can call it whatever you like. That's relevant for the project or the class. So for me, I'll call it Data Science Bootcamp. Click rename. Oh, I already made one, my bad. So we'll go back, we'll do that again. Call it Data Science Bootcamp. Click rename. You'll see it's up here. So if you navigate into that folder, it will be empty for the time being because we just created it. So from here, you can go make other subfolders, or you can just make a notebook. So for example, you might want subfolders. You might want to have a one folder that has our data, one folder that has maybe any images that you'll be using for a report, and then lastly, you can make one folder that has your actual code. So we can just call it code for now. So within this, you can click in any of these that you want and then create more folders. For us, we're just going to show you what a notebook looks like. So we can click on the code folder. you're going to go to the top, you're going to go over to New, and we're going to click on Notebook, Python 3. This will create a notebook in another tab. What a notebook is it's basically your environment to be programming in. And so you can see it's untitled. There's nothing here, and there's a couple of things, so we'll kind of walk through this. First thing you're going to want to do when you make a notebook is rename it. So we'll just call it class 1. You do that by clicking on the top and then renaming as you would like a Google Doc. From here, you can see that there's just like single cells. In each of these cells, you can run code, and they also have other options if you want to just like write in them or use them as headings and stuff, but we'll get into that during the class. So just to show, you can type any code you want. So let's just say we wanted to have the computer print out hello. And then in order to run this code, you can go ahead and hit this run button and it will run that code. Or another thing you can do if you want to focus on just using the keyboard is you can hit shift and then enter and it'll run that block of line. The reason that we use Jupyter Notebooks is because it allows you to run code line by line so that you don't need to worry about writing 100 lines of code and then running it and then trying to figure out where the issue is. This way you can do each step. You can run the code step by step so you can see if you run into any errors, and then from there you can figure it out. So here, just a couple of things up the top. This is just save, so you can click that just to save your file. This is how you can add another cell just with this plus button. You can use the scissors to cut any cells. If you wanted, you can copy a cell with these 2 pieces of paper, and then with this next one you can paste it. You can use the arrows to navigate across cells, and then as I mentioned, this is run, this is stop. So you can see there's a little number next to the cell and it'll tell you that it ran once the number goes, but while it's running, so for example, we can show so let's run that. While it's running, it's going to have this asterisk, and then if you wanted to kill it, you can go ahead and click this to interrupt it. This is just how you restart the kernel, and so it'll reset everything, so we won't do that. And then as I mentioned, this is where you can change stuff. So once you write the code and you do whatever you want in here, when you're done, make sure to click this button. Or another thing you can do is click File and Save and Checkpoint. On Mac, it's going to be Command S, and then on Windows, it's going to be Control S if you want to just use the keyboard. And then the last thing that you're going to do is when you're done programming and you want to take a break, you're going to go ahead and click File, Close and Halt. It'll close out of that. It'll save it. You can see it was saved seconds ago, and you can go wherever you want, navigate back, and then when you're done with Jupyter, you're going to want to go ahead and go to the top and hit Quit, and then it'll say server stopped, you've shut down Jupyter, you can now close this tab. And so if we wanted to use it again, we're going to have to go back into our navigator and launch it from here. But those are the basics for setting up everything, and then when we get in the class, we'll actually explain a little bit more about the specific packages we're going to be using or the specific libraries. So looking forward to it.